Hey there, anime fan. Welcome to part 2 of my Sailor Moon S retrospective. The arc begins with a brief calm before the storm of mad science. Science! But not to worry, Ray's been receiving psychic visions of doom.
Not that that helps her avoid getting jumped by heart-snatching freaks.
The Heart Snatchers are a lot tougher than previous Yoma, and the Scouts basically get their butts kicked. And only win thanks to some timely intervention by the new Sailor Senshi, Uranus and Neptune. Fortunately, that all changes when, with the power of her love for Tuxedo Mask and the other Sailor Scouts, Serena gets her hands on the legendary Spiral Heart Moon Scepter.
Well, ain't that a mouthful to say?
And of all Serena's finishing moves, this one looks like it hurts the most.
Ooh, nasty.
Not too long after the appearance of these fairly unhelpful Sailor Senshi, we meet Amara and Michelle, two new students at an ultra-high-end school for geniuses that not even Amy is qualified for.
Perhaps Serena swapped their transcripts.
Then there's a whole lot of filler until the Heart Snatcher's first lieutenant, Kaori Knight, sets her sights on Sailor Moon. This almost leads to the loss of Serena's heart and her secret identity. But how the Scouts get around it is the single funniest moment in the season, and in this episode, Sailor Moon has her best challenge line ever.
This communications tower sends television signals to the entire country, and you destroyed it! I loathe you, and on behalf of television lovers everywhere, we'll punish you!
It gets you right there.
So it's lights out for Kaori Knight. That means that Dr. Tomo needs to call up his elite interns from the Witches 5 lab, and the first at bat is Eugil. And to counter this deadly threat,
Who's attempting to destroy the world for college credit?
the Scouts get a new team member that no one asked for. Rini, as Sailor Mini-Moon. But I do get my single favorite Rini moment ever.
Ball,
Ha! I could watch that all day. Play it again.
ball,
Yes, again.
ball.
Again.
No, that's your limit.
Fine. So then there's a whole bunch of filler until one of Eugil's cockamamie schemes targets Mina. And in the havoc, Gadget figures out the true identity of Sailor Moon, Sailor Uranus, and Sailor Neptune. And the clever little witch lures the two outer guardians into a death trap at an oil rig with a gothic cathedral built on it.
Now that's some 40K awesome right there.
It's a good thing that Uranus and Neptune have an angel looking out for them.
Well, not quite, but it's the next best thing.
Sailor Pluto clues Serena in, and of course, Meatball Head runs off to save the day like she's some sort of hero. Too bad she's just a little bit late. And that's because, in an ironic twist, the pure heart treasures that Sailors Uranus and Neptune have been looking for this whole time were inside of them. Once the treasures are removed, the poor heartless victim drops dead. By the time Sailor Moon arrives, Neptune has already lost her heart and Uranus is ready to follow suit. And in a scene that's pretty heart-wrenching, Serena tries and fails to talk Amara out of seppuku. Fortunately, the other Scouts and Pluto show up to combine the three treasures to summon Captain Planet. Forge the Purity Chalice, allowing Uranus and Neptune to survive. This magic Guga gives Sailor Moon a superpowered state, with a real short battery life. Meanwhile, Eugil has fallen victim to Witches 5 politics and faulty brake lines. That means that it's Witch number 2 Mamet's time to shine. But that's a sideshow compared to the amazing Hotaru, the girl with the phenomenal, stupendous, and astounding power to make Rini tolerable. Too bad her pop's the leader of the Heart Snatchers, and she's slowly being consumed by an evil presence inside her called Mistress 9, the Sovereign of Silence. Then there's a whole load of filler,
Comprising all Namet's failures.
Then the game really accelerates when Namet gets dead after a failed Matrix dive, and the three remaining witches, Tululu, Beirut, and Cyprin, go down at warp speed. Meanwhile, Rini and Hotaru are in the clutches of a reanimated Kaori Knight and the Bad Doc. The plan is to pull out Rini's super-duper pure heart crystal, which will give Mistress 9 the power she needs to open the gates of time and space for a Lovecraftian terror named Pharaoh 90. And in a more honest show, Mistress 9 would have gagged on Rini's rotten little heart crystal. But no, Mistress 9 awakens and kicks off Armageddon. But she still needs the Purity Chalice. So she pulls Sailor Moon into her Doom Fortress for a final showdown, while the Inner Guardians contain an ever-growing horde of Heart Snatchers, and the Outer Guardians, minus Pluto,
No fair meddling with time and space, my dear.
square off with Jervatoid, the space monster in Doc's head. And for a minute there, it looks like the good guys are gonna win. Jervatoid goes down, and Mistress 9 is losing power fast. But the Doc, the real one this time, says that to save Hotaru, he needs the Purity Chalice. And like the idealistic schmuck unwilling to sacrifice innocent lives that she is, Sailor Moon gives it to him. And of course, Mistress 9 uses it to throw wide the gates for Sailor Moon Cthulhu. But then, at long last, Sailor Saturn awakens, obliterating Mistress 9 and heading into the newly arrived Pharaoh 90 to demolish him, at the cost of her own life.
Well, she had a good run.
But Sailor Moon's not gonna let that happen, and she goes super one more time and saves Hotaru, who's now a baby because of reasons. But it's not over yet. Uranus and Neptune have one last burst of sour grapes in them, and they challenge Serena to a fight. So Sailor Moon beats him into submission and proves that she's the Alpha Scout. Okay, so this arc is generally considered to be the best of Sailor Moon, and that reputation is fairly well deserved. It's certainly the darkest arc in the show so far, what with villains interested in world annihilation rather than world domination. Although that does throw a big question mark over certain villain motivations. Okay, so Pharaoh 90, primordial non-Euclidean being of ultimate chaos he is, needs no elaboration on his motives, and Jervatoid and Mistress 9 are just following his lead. But what do the Witches 5 get out of all of this? I mean, are they mind-controlled? If they are, it's weird that the Scouts don't try and save them the way they tried to save the Black Moon Sisters. Or maybe there's some sort of doomsday cult. But if that's true, then the same question sort of applies. Also, these are probably the worst Yoma the Scouts have ever fought. It's not that they look silly, that's par for the course. But they act silly, they refuse to fight, and sometimes even beg for their lives. And in one memorable case, actually stop to try and help innocent bystanders.
Well, just because they want to annihilate all life on Earth doesn't mean they're all bad.
I've said it before, but the Yoma in Sailor Moon R the movie are how it's done. Now for the Outer Senshi. They're an interesting case morality-wise. As far as they know, in order to protect the Earth, Uranus and Neptune will need to sacrifice 3 innocent lives. This pessimistic but realistic attitude is countered by the very idealistic Sailor Moon, who believes that they can win without needing to sacrifice anyone. I like this idea. It establishes that Serena's a good person and has noble intentions, compared with the more cynical Uranus and Neptune, who, although they don't want to hurt anyone, will still do just that to protect the planet.
The ends justify the means.
That's called a slippery slope.
And those are the most fun to go down.
Where this concept falls flat is that Serena never gives any reason why she can save the world without needing to hurt anyone. I mean, Superman rightly believes he's so powerful that he doesn't need to hurt anyone to protect the planet.
Not in Man of Steel, he didn't.
Captain Kirk has such absolute faith in himself and his team that there's no situation or enemy he can't outthink or outfight. And Batman, well, he's Batman. Come on, Serena, I want to go for this plan, but you gotta give me something. Sailor Moon S also, interestingly, almost makes Rini likable, and that's all related to Sailor Saturn. Basically, when Rini stops acting like a brat and begins to show concern for others, it somehow makes her more likable.
Brilliant deduction, Holmes.
This is definitely one of the best arcs in Sailor Moon, with an exciting new cast of Senshi, and a grimmer tone to balance out the mahou shoujo fun you know and love. So I give Sailor Moon S a 4.5 out of 5. If you're interested in more reviews of anime, movies, TV shows, comic books, or video games, check out my channel on YouTube at StupidPrivate913, or find my DeviantArt and Facebook pages for video updates and more. Thanks for watching.
Hey kids, today's show is brought to you by the letter 4 and the number potato! I'm a stupid private.